I used to put my labels in gear so that just in case a few years from now, if I've made you gear, you could find me and say, hey, can you make this again? But I had a strange incident where someone had purchased gear from one of the girls online, and he emailed me and said, I need to know how to care for this after it's been worn by my girlfriend, and showed me pictures of his shrine, and I realized I didn't want everybody to be able to contact me, just the workers.
That's a good idea.
That got a little weird.
Has this become sort of like your fashion week? New York has their big week, or their like Project Runway with their shows and all. Is that something you would strive for, and it's turned into something else, or no, that really wasn't ever a thing for you to be in New York and to work there and do things there?
I wasn't so interested in creating my own line, but I was really young. I was 19 when I graduated from college, so I hadn't decided what my niche would be yet, and I'd fallen into the brides and the bridal stuff, and I knew I didn't love that, but it was kind of neat to be making knockoffs and having the manufacturer's permission to make copies and nobody know, that kind of thing. But when I fell into there's nothing like this in the world. There's no monotony. It's always something different. Working for a live TV show is great. The pressure of, we need so-and-so to, we've got to change, this needs to happen, and I love the
spontaneity?
Yes, spontaneity, definitely. It's never the same thing twice. It's never a dull moment.
Has anything ever happened, well, you mentioned before about when you're watching it, oh no, the thread. Has anything ever happened when you were there at the event and it's like, whoa, we gotta fix this, or they've come running to you, help, I need help?
Yes, there have been a bunch of little things, like someone's drawstring got tied in a knot so they couldn't get their pants up, so I have to run and cut it and then throw a new drawstring in. The girls, it's a lot of last minute, after they're dressed, they realize, excuse me, if they're going to move, things might not stay where they need to.
Sure.
So there's a lot of tape and glue and safety pins and magic to make sure that you don't see anything you shouldn't.
That's probably one of the hardest things. I mean, make light of it, but not really, because it is probably one of the hardest things, because they're flying around, hitting each other, doing whatever, and you've got to make sure that everything stays in place, so to speak.
Right. It really is. That took me quite a long time to kind of master the fit. I can't stand if a guy's going to be, some of the moves that these guys make, I mean, they're doing some superhuman things. I don't want their underwear hanging out because they're too flexible. I have to make that gear be as flexible and as magical as they are, so that it reflects, so that all you're focusing on is AJ and his great pele kick, not, oops, oh wait, what's that?
It takes away, it distracts from what they're doing, which is another aspect that was important for what you do to help them. Has there ever been someone that you've watched here and said, oh, I wish that person would come over and we do more with him, or say, if someone just came out in just regular tights or something and you're like, or do you sort of have your hand working with everybody?
I pretty much do. Everybody knows I'm here by now, and the guys look out for each other. Everybody wants everyone in this company to look their best, to be their best, to be the best representative of the company that they can be. So Daniels and AJ especially, whenever someone new comes in, they'll hand walk them to me and say, this is Jolene, this is so-and-so, please take care of them. And we'll work together and make sure that we can find a look that will reflect their gimmick and make them look as good as they can.
Have you ever come across anyone anywhere and just said, what are they doing? And like, hey, and in a nice way try to, well, maybe we should try this.
Yes, that has happened more than a few times, but usually people know that. Like, they know when they come in and you look around and you see guys with rhinestones and bling and studs and all this fanciness in their gear, and they kind of look down and realize, I think I need some help. So I'm yet to go up to anybody and be like, hey, we should talk, and they'll be like, no, I'm good. So.
Internationally, that's an interesting thing, because if you have people coming from other countries, which they do to work here, work in this business, what's it like for you to work with them? Because you also have a different type of mindset, because what happens in America may be different in England, or style may be different in other countries.
There's a lot more sketching involved, definitely, when you're working with someone in a different country, because the way that I vocalize something might not be clear to them. So I make sure that it's on paper with dimensions and you understand this is exactly what's in my head. Which, when Magnus first debuted here, we were kind of on that same kind of level. So I did a lot of sketching and said, well, this is what I'm thinking, and he'd respond back, no, let's change this, and it's a lot more back and forth.
That's a good one you mentioned, because he's had such a different look.
He really
when
has.
he first started and what he is now.
Yes, the look when he first started was one of those, oh my goodness, emergencies. I got a phone call when I was leaving here about how his look needed immediate attention because he was supposed to be just downright frightening. So I had a week to come up with a scary, intimidating gladiator gimmick, and finding that handmade helmet, working with all the leather and the studs, and then they came to realize that his persona was more important, that the gear actually detracted from it.